Hello, hello. Hello, grades K through 5 parents. How are you? How are you today? It is Master Class Wednesday time. I'm super excited to be here with you all today. How are you? Come in, say good afternoon to me. Say good afternoon. Let me know how I can help you today. Come on in, say good afternoon to me. Let me know how I can help you today while we're here live. Let me know. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. My name is Portia Williams, also known as the Student Success Coach. And what I do here is I help grades K through 5 parents confidently speak up on their child's behalf without being seen as the angry parent so that they can help their child achieve academic success. That's a little bit about who I am and what I do. And I do that each and every Monday here at the Student Success School, where my number one mission here is to really not only, right, help you right one on one with your child, but really also I want you taking charge, right? I really want you to take charge of your child's academic success. I want you to do that. And the number one way that I encourage you to do that is to speak up, right? To really speak up. Let me know where you are right now with your child, what's going on, and I'll do my best to dig deep, right, based upon the information that you shared, to really help you, one, see where your child's challenge is, but we're going to talk about that today, and also really get you to the place that you want for your child academically, right, and helping them achieve academic success. So that's a little bit about who I am and what I do, and I welcome you. And as you're coming in, if you have any questions, if your child is struggling academically, maybe they aren't achieving academic success, and most of the parents that I hear, they definitely have some challenges with their child. Let me know what's going on, and I'm going to do my very best to help you. Okay, let me know what's going on with your child academically, and I will do my best to help you because it's truly what I love to do. It's one of the things I really love to do. It's a part of who I am. I was a child who struggled academically. I did not achieve academic success at all, especially in my grades K through 5 school career. And so, not only with my personal life, but also as an educator, I'm a former educator. And so, I can help you and I can do my best to help you and serve you in a way to help your child go from where they are right now to where you desire them to be. And so, let me know what's going on, okay? And so that wraps up the updates. Other than things are going to be changing here at the Student Success School soon. And so you might see some changes, some things might get tweaked around, right? And so I want you to pay attention to those updates. I'm not going to release everything that's happening right now because I'm still in the preparing process and kind of like really in prayer. Like, Lord, how do you want me to move in this area or that area? And so please, I just want you all to take advantage of this opportunity, right? Make sure, right, if 12 o'clocks don't work for you, come back and catch the replay. If 12 o'clock master classes don't work for you, come back and catch the replay, okay? And so I make sure that I put the update in the group, right, for you all who are going to catch the replay or those who are coming later. Make sure if 12 doesn't work for you on Wednesdays, come back and catch the replay when you can, okay? So I'll make sure, I'm gonna write that note. Reminder about replays, okay? Because you all have 24/7 access anytime, right, to watch these master classes and really help your child. And so if you're on your way to work, right, you can listen to this in the car. If you're in the shower, literally put it on the loudest speaker you have and you can listen to it while you're in the shower, right? If you're working out, right, maybe you're getting a walk in or you're working out and you might want to listen to it. Maybe you choose Saturdays to be your Saturdays that you listen and go back and listen to that week's masterclass. So whatever works, however it works, dropping your kids off to school, if this is something not only will bless you, but also letting your kids hear it probably is going to encourage them too to really do well at school because someone's advocating for them, which would be me. And so listen to it. Okay, listen to it, listen to it, listen to it. This is so amazing transformation information that it took me to a lot of experience and a lot of pain and hurt to go through to learn. Hey, Coach, thank you for joining. It took me a lot of hurt and pain to go through it, but I'm coming back and I'm sharing those things that I learned with you, right, and the experiences I've had with you, so that you can help your child. Okay, and in this masterclass time, it's free, so why wouldn't you, right? It's free. It's gonna definitely transform your life. And the only reason that you wouldn't is if that you're not ready to take charge. And I doubt anyone who's here is not ready to take charge. I doubt anyone who's here is the type of parent that doesn't want to see their child achieve academic success. Like, the reason that you join is because you do, right? And so please, please, please make sure that you're taking full advantage of this free opportunity that you have, right, to get this masterclass information. Just to be able to have it and then go back and use it is going to do like 180s in your child's academic success. So use it, okay? And so that wraps up my updates. I am ready to get into today's masterclass. We're going to be talking, Coach, I didn't get a chance to read your message yet, but I will once we're finished, okay? If you haven't seen, today's masterclass is entitled, What If Whoopings Won't Work? What if whoopings won't work? And what I mean by whoopings, I mean like belts, spankings, whatever, you can think of when it comes to disciplining a child. And I want to talk about that today because there's a fear that I know that some parents have, right? And that fear is that, what if me whooping my child for them bringing home poor report card grades, right? What if doing all of that, whoopings, right, really even punishing my child, doesn't make them change, doesn't make them improve their grades and bring home better report card grades, right? And the truth is, I know many parents have experienced this. This might be an unspoken fear, something that nobody else knows, right? Something that parents may not discuss. And so that's why we're discussing it, because I do know that it's something that goes through parents' mind, right? Like, I'm doing this, but it's not really working. And what if it doesn't continue to work? Because what I do know from my own experience, right? I was a child who I got my behind tore all the way up. And so that's why I can talk about this. I am a child who definitely was disciplined physically for not achieving academic success, continuing to bring home poor report cards. Like that happened to me. But it continued to happen, meaning I continued to bring home poor grades on my report card, and then on top of that, I was whooped. And then so it would happen again the next quarter, and then it would happen again the next quarter, and then the school year would be over, and then I would go back and do the same thing, not really bring home great grades, and then my parents like would whoop me again, or I was on punishment by my mom, or my dad would whoop me. So again, it was a cycle that was continuing to happen, meaning I was continually struggling, but I was continually getting whoopings. And the question that I want you to think about for your child is, what if the whoopings aren't working? Like, what if they aren't solving the problem? And in my case, it did not. And so I want to present that to you today. And we're going to talk about this because I really believe that whooping your child probably won't make them bring home better report card grades. I just want to let you know that. Like, I believe that it probably won't work for you. It probably won't work. Like, I will literally, like, I'll give you an 8, really I'll say a 9 out of 10, but I'll give you 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 chance that it just will not work for you. And I don't encourage you to whoop your child 8 times to see if it's going to work, right? And so what I mean by that, and I'm going to break it down again, I really believe that whooping your child because they aren't bringing home better grades, I don't believe it's going to work for you. I don't believe it's really going to work out for you and make them do the 180, make them bring home, straight A's and achieve academic success. I just don't think that that's going to work. I don't think it's a method that's going to get you the cause and effect that you want. Okay. And so I say that because I do know for many parents, their mindset around this is, you know, they think that whooping their child because their grades are really poor will make them go back to school and really learn, like sit down and focus and pay attention. And so if a child brings home poor grades, parents can immediately, they look at that report card, they're like, go get the belt. I'm going to tell your behind up. And tomorrow, my expectation for you is that you go to school and you pay attention to what the teacher is saying. And it might seem like that is going to get you what you want. But often, as an educator, I've seen that it doesn't. And the reason that I say that is because, from the educator's perspective, I've also seen students, they'll come in like the next day after being whooped for their bad report card, and they'll try to focus in their best. They'll try to give their best, right? They literally almost become like a teacher's pet that day. And not necessarily saying that they have behavior issues or that they're not good students, but they'll try their best, right? And then the next day they'll try their best. But really by Wednesday, Thursday, or even Friday, by the next week, that thrive and that drive that they had, it diminishes. And so I really want to let parents know that you can give your child a week's. You can whip them. Let's say today is Wednesday. By next Wednesday, if you whoop your child because their grades were poor and they brought home a bad report card, your child would have totally lost their momentum to continue to achieve academic success. And what I mean by momentum, not that they don't want to, but what it takes to achieve the academic success, they would have lost that. The focusing in, paying attention, whatever you would think that achieving academic success looks like, your child would have lost that. They would have lost that. Okay, and I'm going to go into, I can go into it now, and if I have to repeat it again. The reason that many students actually, I'm about to address what you just said too, Coach. One of the things that actually happens in between that time is you're thinking, okay, a parent might think, hey, I'm going to whoop my child, and then they're going to go to school and they're going to pay attention, right? Because I'm going to give you something, like you're going to remember this, if you will, right? Coach talked about a little fear. I'm going to tap into that. But you're going to remember that I whooped you, so when you go to school, it's going to make you want to focus in. But the truth is, for some students, it's what they're missing. Like, in essence, it's a reason that they're not bringing home good grades. It's not because they don't remember when they're in school that you won't almost take their head off when they get home. It's because they're missing something, like something is missing. And that's what's keeping them from achieving academic success. And so within that week's time, they bring home this poor report card, you whoop them. Within that week, they truly don't have the skill to continue to do well in math. They don't have that skill that's going to continue to make them comprehend and reading. They don't have the skill to make them comprehend when they're reading in history. They don't have the skill to their brain, the formula to get like a science system, whatever they might be doing in science. Like there's something that they're missing. There's a challenge there. And so I want to present that like within a week, that fire to focus in could be gone because in essence, there's something bigger that's missing. It's not the focus. It's the know-how for some students. Some students, it is the focus, right? But for other students, it's the know-how. Like, I just don't know how to do this. This isn't really my thing. And so we can go in more into that. And if that's where if you've whooped your child and then like the next week, right, they still come home with like a test that has like a D or F on it or E on it and they're failing, let me know. Because that could possibly, like you whip them and you might see maybe one test come home. Not even that. I doubt that you'll even see a test come home with an A after you whip them academically. Because in essence, it's that they don't have the skill. It has nothing to do with them not wanting to bring home the A. It has to do with the skill. So I pray that makes sense, but I really want to present that because I want you to know that whooping your child, that can fade away within the next 2 days. And I don't want to bring this up, but you often see it with behavior, right? Like, let's say your child gets a phone call home, like today, and then by Friday, your child's talking again in class. It's like they did good Thursday, but in like they went back to normal. And it can be frustrating for parents, and they're whooping their child, and they do it again. It's like you're talking again in class. And I don't like to bring up behavior because I'm not a behavior coach, and I don't even like to tap into that. But most of the time, behavior comes from academic challenges as well. And I know I'm giving a lot, and so that's why I'm gonna slow back down. But I want to mention that I really want to make this very, very clear for you, for all of you, right? And I want to make sure that I'm presenting it in a way that makes sense. Whooping your child often, right, for their grades being poor, it does not lead to the success that you want and to really help your child consistently bring home straight A's. Like because you whoop your child this report card does not guarantee that the next report card you're not gonna have to whoop them because they have straight A's. More often than not, that is not the case. That is not the case. More often, a child will come right back home with the same grades on their report card, if not worse. Okay, and one of the reasons that I say that, and I have more, but one of the reasons that I say that is because it's not that they don't want to achieve academically, right? I don't think that's the major concern with most students, because they want to make good grades, they want to meet your expectations, but often it's because they don't have the skill to continue to keep the momentum to bring home the good grades. Okay, and so I pray that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know, and I'll break it down. Just let me know. I want to read Chelsea's comment. You said then you will let them know that if you want rewards, and you're gonna have to push through. Also, make sure that they understand that they have to earn what they want and need in life. Take away what they like until they show that they're doing better or making improvements. Whooping can create fear in a child. Yeah, I think you make some good points. I'm going to talk about the number one thing I think that parents should be doing before they even reward their child. In the program, I talk about this, right? So for those of you who do not know, I have an 8-week program, and I go in depth, right? I go in depth from A to Z what you should be doing with your child to help them achieve academic success. With here, such a large platform with over like 270 parents, I can't meet everybody's need in one master class for 30 minutes. It's just not going to happen. But in the program, I have that. And so if you want the program information, I'll put the link before we leave, how you can talk to me about that. But I talk about that, and I think Chelsea makes some good points. She talks about reward. I talk about that in the program. Really getting your expectations met, getting your child to improve. I talk all about that. But before you even get to that, what I'm going to talk about today is the number one thing that has to be done. But I totally agree with Coach Chelsea when she says whooping only creates fear in a child. That's actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and skip. Hold on, let me see. Okay, so this might be my next point. I'm glad I was going to skip this next point to get to her point, but I think I have them in order based upon what she said. Okay, yep. So I can go ahead and go into it. That is my next point. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going out of order and I keep my flow, my momentum. All right. And so exactly what Coach Chelsea said. Whooping only creates fear in a child. And so what I would say this, for many students, it creates fear. Whoopings create fear when it comes to them academically. And this is what I have wrote down. I said, one of the things that many parents that I know that they feel, they actually get frustrated, right? They get frustrated with their child when they aren't achieving, right? When they're bringing home these poor grades because they're not meeting your expectation. Like, you expect your child to go to school and learn, right? For many, like that's the reason that I'm sending you there, is to go to school and learn. And for many parents, the frustration comes because their expectation is not being met. For many parents, you represent me. They feel like you represent me, and I expect you to do well. I don't expect you to be perfect, but I expect you to do well, right? I don't expect for you to come home and you got D's and you're failing and you're really not doing your best, right? You're not making the improvement like Coach Chelsea said. So many parents actually feel like that. And you can let me know if that's how you feel, right? As a parent, If you feel that way about your child right now, and that's where your frustration lies, and that's why you're whooping them, let me know. Okay, let me know, because I really want to help you. I really want to really help you so you don't have to continue to feel that way, feel that frustration, because I can only imagine, right? But here's the thing with that. When parents are frustrated and they're whooping their child because they're frustrated because they aren't getting their expectations met, right? For many students, when they're being whooped because of frustration, they actually become scared. They become scared. I literally, Coach Chelsea said fear. And it's a fear, right? And that fear can turn into being scared of their parents emotionally, being scared of their parents physically, being scared of their parents mentally. And often what that causes a child to do is not to share at all. Not to talk about challenges, not to talk about things that they're dealing with academically, trouble that they're having. First thing that just came to my mind, if you are a parent that you whoop your child because of their poor grades, and you ask them, like, first of all, you might whoop them, and then you have a conversation. You're like, okay, why did you bring home failing grades? And the first thing children, more than likely, they say is they don't know. But often, there are some students that can give you clarity on what's their challenge and what's the issue that they're having, but they're afraid. They're afraid to talk about it. They don't know how to communicate with their parents because there's so much fear there. There's fear. And I want parents to realize that you could literally miss out on helping your child with their biggest challenge academically because you put so much fear in them. And for many parents, that was what they strived to do. They actually wanted their child to be afraid of them so that they won't get out of line, right? But the truth is, if your child is failing academically and you did your best to try to put fear in them, you didn't do a good job because the fear didn't keep them from not doing well. So there's a bigger issue at hand that is currently has been nothing that you could do about it. And I know that might sound harsh, that might sound a little tough, but putting fear and whooping your child, and really, I should say this, whooping your child, right? Because of where they are academically, can cause fear, can cause your child to be scared of you emotionally, mentally, to the point where they won't open up to you, and you could be missing the very thing that you could be missing out on them telling you the very thing that can help you, that will prevent you from being stressed out and being frustrated and not being able to serve them and to really help them solve their problem. And so in essence, what I'm saying is frustration with your child for where they are academically can cause your child to be afraid of you. Really, emotionally, physically, mentally. And when a person is afraid of someone, they often don't open up. They're afraid to open up. They don't know what to say. They don't know what not to say, right? They don't know. So they might not say anything. They might not perform their best. They might tiptoe. And I want you to understand that it's like, I don't know if, and I don't really want to go there, but the first thing that I think about is being in an abusive relationship. People often who are in abusive relationships, they're not 100% themselves. And parents, that's what's happening to your child if you're whooping them because of their continued poor grades. They're not going to open up and be themselves and be communicative and tell you what's going on so that you can help them. It's very rare chance that it's going to happen. They often don't know what to say. I don't know, because they're frustrated. They're confused. They don't know. They feel like they don't know. Right? And that also could be not the truth, because maybe your child can be the number one person that can help you talk. If anybody knows the challenge, it's probably your child. I'm going to just say that. So we can get more into that later, and I will. But I do want to mention this point because I don't really want to go over. But one of the things that I want to mention, if you have questions, if you have concerns about what I said, let me know. Like, the comment section is yours. I will answer your question while we're here. But one of the things that I really want you all to think about is that you might feel like whooping your child will teach him or her to go to school and really pay attention. And I know this is a psychology really of many parents. They feel like if I teach, if I whoop my child, they'll go to school and pay attention because they don't want to keep getting their behind tore up, right? But often students that bring home poor grades on their report card, right? There's a bigger issue at hand, and I've been alluding to this, but it's my time to go into it. There's a bigger issue at hand. Most students aren't bringing home bad grades because they just want to get whooped. They just want to get whoopings. They're just not. I'm telling you, they're not. Most students aren't bringing home good report cards because there's a bigger issue at hand. Okay, there's a bigger issue at hand. And often they don't understand what's really going on in class. They don't know what their teacher's really teaching. And so the bigger issue is that they may not be comprehending. They might not totally be wrapping their mind around the lessons. They might not be 100% like a math genius. Like there could be some challenges there, real challenges there, that whooping them are just not going to solve. It just is not going to get down to the bottom of it. And so in essence, whooping your child or thinking that, okay, I'm going to whoop you and you're going to go to school and pay attention, is not necessarily solving the problem. Because if paying attention was all it took to achieve academic success, your child probably would just stare like straight faced. Like that's not all it takes. And I think parents think that like all it takes is to just pay attention. No, it doesn't work like that for every child. Some students don't have to study, they don't have to do anything, they can just go to class and everything absorbed. Somehow, some way they get it. And often that's when you really have like readers or writer or auditory learners or learners who just can read and write stuff and they pick it up. Like, but that even takes work. Auditory learning takes work. Like you got to go to class and listen to get the information. And so it takes work. And so it doesn't often just mean going into the classroom and paying attention. It takes work. And so I want parents to really get that. Like I know there are parents that think that whooping their child is just gonna make their child go to school. And now you're gonna pay attention because I didn't like tore your back off. But often, it doesn't solve the problem. It just doesn't, because there's a bigger issue at hand. And often your child doesn't understand what's happening in class. They don't get it. They just don't. Okay. And so this leads to my next point. Many parents, they're whooping their child because of discipline, right? They're connecting discipline and academics. They're connecting academics to discipline, meaning they're connecting what your child does at school or does not do at school determines how you're going to be punished or how you're going to be rewarded. And I don't think really one should go hand in hand. Often I don't. And the reason I say that is because it's a bigger risk for parents, for you as a parent. I'll tell you a personal story. I had a student who, and this is my point, I had a student who was whooped for whatever reason, right? And honestly, I can't tell you if it was academic or behavior. But they were whooped at home, and they came to school the next day, and there was webs across their face, and I had to make a call. I had to make a call. This isn't something like I'm really proud of. It isn't something that I wanted to do at all. Actually, I don't like situations like this because it makes more work for me. And more importantly, it makes more work for me, and the child is hurt. And so, and that's the only reason I'll make more work for me, because I know a child is hurt. And he had webs across his face. And make a long story short, he was hit with a belt. And I don't know if he moved too fast or moved too slow, but the belt came across his face and there was a web across his face. And it was because his parent whooped him. And what I want to let parents know is that whooping your child, especially when it comes to them academically, it's not worth CPS being called. It's not worth you sitting in meetings trying to explain how you need your child back because they were taken from you. It's not worth you going to jail and losing your children or paying bail money to get out, to prove your case, to get a lawyer. It's just not worth it. And so that's ultimately, I just want you all to think about the financial cost, right? We're talking about the emotional cost, what it does for children, what it does for you, the stress level it can cause you. But that money piece is something totally different. And it's just not worth it when you have to pay for a lawyer because your child wasn't achieving academically and you whooped them and now they have webs or bruises or at hurts, severely hurt or dead. So I say that because all seriously, this is way more important and way more serious than we think. And I want you all to know, and I'm over my time, right? I want you all to know that whooping your child because of poor report card grades and bringing poor report card grades home, whooping them does more damage than good. Whooping them does more damage to your child than good. And so in essence, it's really, 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 really not worth it. Okay? It's just not worth it. And so that's why I do encourage you, if you're a grades K through 5 parent and you found yourself whooping your child because they were not achieving academic success, right? They're bringing home poor report card grades. If you've been that type of parent that whoops your child because they're not meeting your expectations academically, I encourage you to really shift your mindset about that. Shift your way of thinking about how to help your child go back to school and really do well. I want you to shift your thinking about that, right? Because as I said, whoopings won't necessarily make them go back to school and do a 180 academically. But take time though and really get to know what their challenge is. Get to know what your child's real challenge is. Put that energy into that, right? Put your energy into knowing what your child's challenge is instead of whooping them. And that's going to help you more so than all the different challenges that you'll have to experience in the long run if you continue to whoop your child. Okay? And I'm telling you that it could really be more of a blessing to you when you take time and learn what your child's challenge is because when you'll get clarity, right? You'll know. Often parents are whooping their child and they don't really know what the real issue is. Because if they did, they would not whoop them. And so you'll get clarity. You will get much more clarity if you really took some time to get to know what your child's challenge is, right? You'll get clarity. You'll know what's really causing them to make poor grades. And I think that's most important. Another thing that I think that is super important, a great benefit, is that you won't be as stressed. Whooping a child takes a lot of energy out of a lot of parents. I've seen it. It's been done to me. I've seen it. I've seen it. It's like a workout. It could cause a lot of stress. I've told you this before. Many parents who go to the doctors or whatever, and the doctors ask them like, "What's the number one reason that your blood pressure is so high?" Often parents say because of their kids or work. They had some things going on. Often they'll say work and then they realize like, yeah, I had some stuff going on with my son, my daughter. Don't let that be your issue. Don't get stressed up and stressed out and have to go to the doctor, right? The increased blood pressure medication because of what's going on with your children. Don't do that. Don't go through that, right? And whooping them, I told you, emotionally and mentally for you, it's a lot. There are parents who whoop their kids and then they cry about it. They feel horrible, right? And so it really, by getting to know the challenge, it'll help you, it'll be less stressful. It could be very much less stressful than what you know. Okay, it could be so much less stress in your life. One of the other things that I really wanted to address, when you get to know your child's learning get to know what their challenge is. Get to know what their child your when you when you take the time and you get to know your child's challenge, it can help you get to it can help you help your child achieve academic success faster because you learn the challenge, then you can work on the challenge, right? And one of the other things that I think is super important is that in a relationship, when you learn what your child's challenge is, I'm telling you, it can build a parent child relationship where there's so much trust, so much trust, so much trust. I'm telling you, when a parent really gets to know what their child's real challenge is, it can build it can build trust in a relationship where the parent like lets their child know, I got you regardless, and the child knows my parent got me regardless. But when there's no trust there, I don't trust you academically, and you have issues with your child academically, and you're frustrated and you're whooping them behind it, it doesn't create a trustful relationship. And I'm big on that. I'm big on great parent children relationships, because when a child has a great relationship with their parent, I'm telling you, there's confidence out this world that nobody would be able to take. It's because they've been raised, and so and not just raised, but they've been poured into. That's something I teach in the program. I teach why I think it's super significant, but I want to mention that. I do want to mention that. And so, I really, I encourage you all to get to know, really get to know what your child's challenge is. Learn what their challenge is. And one of the reasons I say that is because when I was a child, a grades K through 5 child, my parents, they didn't know initially what my challenge was. So they were like literally very frustrated with me, whooping me and like getting me tested to see if I had a learning disability or needed an IEP, a 504. Like they were doing like everything that they could. I remember one year my mom moved me to the front of the class because they thought I needed glasses. Like they went through so many things to try to help me. But none of those things seemed to work. It took some time for them to figure out, like, okay, this could possibly be a challenge. And one of the challenges that I did have is that I struggled with comprehension. But here's one of the things I wish my parents did know. One of the reasons that I likely struggled with comprehension is because I grew up in an abusive household. I grew up where my parents actually physically fought. And so in essence, what it did for me, it created a lot of fear. It created a lot of uncomfortability, right? And in that, I was often not very focused at all because of some of the reasons is because of the things that I was going on at home. And so I wish my parents knew that. They thought my number one issue was comprehension. But the truth is, it was some things that were going on at home that was also preventing me from going to school and focusing all the way in. And probably the reason is because I had to break up a fight between grown people like the night before, and I'm 7 years old. And so I say all of that to say this, that often we think that we think it could be comprehension for your child, right? But we think that whooping our child is going to solve the problem. And that's why I say, stop the whooping. Let's look at what the real challenge is. Let's dig deep to what the real challenge is, because the real challenge, right, will make you not even want to put your hand near a belt to put on their butt often. And so I just encourage that. I really encourage that, because getting to what the real challenge is can literally help your child, right? Really do a 180 academically and just get into that. And the truth is, by the time my parents stopped fighting like cats and dogs, when they stopped, I probably was achieving academically. Really. So I say that to say, please, get to the real challenge. Get to the real challenge of why your child, is bringing home these poor report card grades, because whooping them may not make them bring home better grades at all. It probably won't do that. And often I don't think parents realize that You might think that whooping your child will, make them go to school and really learn. But often going to school and really focusing in and trying to learn isn't their challenge. There could be something much deeper. And often whooping your child doesn't get you to solve that problem. It never gets to the root of the problem, right? It never gets to the root of the problem, what the real issue is. And having frustration, right, not only can cause you stress, but it can really keep them from really trusting you and building a relationship with you. And so emotionally and mentally, excuse me, and physically, you could be pushing your child away and they don't build that trust with you in a relationship. And then remember I was talking about that financial cost, man. You don't want to sit there and deal with CPS and get your child taken and then go into jail and having to pay for bail. You don't want to do that because you done took a belt and went across their face by accident, and now you're sitting in a meeting trying to prove that you're not an unfit parent. You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with that. I'm telling you, I've experienced some of that as an educator where I had to have meetings that I did not want to have and dig deep to stuff that I didn't want to dig deep into. And it doesn't always, it doesn't really, really work out in the best way often. It doesn't. And so that's my encouragement for you all. If you are a parent, right, and you can honestly say that you've been whooping your child because they aren't bringing home good grades, they're failing academically, their grades are poor, and you're tired of it, they're not meeting your expectations, and so you are whooping them. If that's where you are, I just encourage you to learn what your child's real challenge is. Like, learn what their real challenge is. Save the energy on the whoopings. Take that energy and really, really, really learn what the real challenge is. Like, what's really causing them? What's really causing them to bring home these poor grades? Put your energy on that when they bring home these poor report cards instead of whooping them automatically. Put your energy on that part. Please do that, because I'm telling you, you'll get closer, right, to really knowing what is really going on with them. You'll get clarity, and then you lead yourself to helping them achieve academic success, right? And so it's a blessing. It is really a blessing. And if you want help, right, if you want help with making sure that you are learning your child's learning style, right? Not learning style. If you want help learning your child's challenge, not their learning style, their challenge. If you want help getting to know their challenge, what's really going on with them, let me know. I'm here to help you. It's my job to dig deep and to really see what could be the real issue here, and we can work on that together. And if you want that help, I'm gonna put the link in the comment section below. Book a free session with me is where we talk about what is going on with your child academically. Like, what's the challenge? What's stopping you from helping them bring home better report card grades? And really, what do you want for them academically? We could talk about all of that and more, during our Speak Up session time. 100% free. And if I can help you, we can go on to how you can join the program with me and get that one-on-one help where you can literally see your child go from A to Z academically, right? Make a 180 and achieve academic success. And so that all of those options are open for you. I just ask that you click the link below in the comment section, and we can get started on that process. All right. And so that wraps up our masterclass for today. I think I'm sleepy, but it's okay. I got through the masterclass, and if you have questions, if you need a little more clarity, let me know. I'm open to that. If everything made sense and more to you, and you definitely won't be whooping your child when this report card come out, thank you, and let me know what you learned, any takeaways. But most importantly, if you want to talk to me one-on-one about going, literally stopping whooping your child into literally learning what their learning style is. Not learning style. I don't know why I keep saying learning style. Learning what their challenge is. That's the first thing that Coach Portia wants you to know. That's important first. Their challenge. Learning what their challenge is, what the real problem is. I can help you with that. All right? And so I love you all so much. Thank you for allowing me to be your coach today. If you're catching the replay, I want to know that you are. Let me know, please. And so I can say hello to you at least, right? And that's it. That wraps up our class. Thanks, Charles, for joining. I appreciate your input. You really hit it right, the nail right, the head right on the nail of with talking about whooping only creates fear. Yep. So I do believe there's some truth to that. I do. It can very much create a fear, and we talked about that. That was my second point today. All right. So if you're catching the replay, go back there. Until we talk again, I love you all. Bye bye.